Greetings, adventurers, and welcome back to Abnormal Voyages. My name is David, and today we find ourselves in Abilene, Kansas. As you may be able to tell by this lovely statue next to me, we are here at a place dedicated to one of my favorite animals, dogs. Specifically, greyhounds. Everybody knows about horse races, but kind of its little cousin is greyhound racing, where these noble animals race out on the track and go as quickly as they can. To celebrate them, we're here at the Greyhound Hall of Fame to learn all about this sport. Tag along.
We're going to a place that you've never heard of before. It's Abnormal Voyages. You're gonna learn something new. We're gonna open new doors. It's Abnormal Voyages.
While you're outside, it makes sense to stop and look at the starting gate. This is one that was used in actual greyhound races. The dogs would be loaded up into all 8 spots here, and then the gates would fly open and the dogs would hit the track. Pretty neat seeing one in person. Man and dog have always had an amazing bond. We're now inside where we're checking out the history of greyhound racing, and it begins way back in Egypt and Greece and Rome, where these ancient cultures still had that same friendship that many of us have today. Greyhounds fall into a category of dog called sight hounds. That just means that they rely primarily on sight as one of their main senses, as opposed to other dogs who go primarily on sound and smell. Interestingly enough, nobody quite knows where the greyhound breed originated from. However, there's been lots of depictions in ancient Egypt that look a lot like greyhounds. We move ahead to ancient Greece, where greyhounds are now an established breed and actually appear pretty commonly in different art pieces such as pottery and paintings of the age. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of evidence that greyhounds were really favored by high-class individuals. This became even more so in the Middle Ages. Greyhounds almost went extinct, but they were saved and bred for their elegance, and soon it became a huge status symbol to own a greyhound. Being that all the high-class people had greyhounds, it didn't take long before they decided to prove that their greyhound was better than everybody else's greyhound. And this is what led to the roots of greyhound racing. At one point, greyhound racing was so popular that the Waterloo Cup was Britain's most attended sporting event. This, of course, was eclipsed in years to come, but for a while, it was very popular. The Waterloo Cup actually ran from 1836 all the way to 2005. Here is one trophy from said cup, and though it's no longer around, it definitely left a mark on the sport. There are still a few things around from back in those days, such as this awesome little model here that you could put a coin in and watch the dogs race around the track. But where it really kicked off was once it hit America. Some of the very first greyhounds in America came over with the Spaniards when they explored Florida and stayed with them all the way through down to Mexico. The breed flourished in the United States, and it wasn't long before greyhound racing had truly found a home. Now, these races didn't quite take off as quickly as horse racing, but with a little American ingenuity and some showmanship, greyhound racing was finally attractive to the masses. Some really cool history they have here at the museum are pieces that were used on some of these really early tracks. These are what would be set up, and then attached to it would be a rabbit, the white fluffy thing you usually see, which does look like a real rabbit, and this would race around the track, and the greyhound dogs would quickly dash after it in pursuit. Even as the years went by, this general concept pretty much stayed the same for Greyhound racing. Surprisingly, one of the things that really helped it take off in the 1920s was doing races at night, when they were able to light up the actual track and allow people to come after work. They ended up getting a much bigger crowd than the daytime races. It was truly a winning combination. People loved gambling, and people loved dogs. It was a match made in heaven. Something here that I really loved. This is in the past of Greyhound racing, and honestly, I don't know why this isn't still a thing. I would absolutely go watch this. There used to be a time period in the 30s and leading up through the 50s where they would have Greyhound races with monkey jockeys. The monkeys would be riding the Greyhounds like horses and do the race. I think that would be incredible. These pictures are awesome, and maybe we can start a petition or something to get that brought back. Greyhound racing has come a long way and is still something that happens today. Let's check out a little bit more about what modern day racing looks like. One thing that hasn't changed throughout the decades has been the kind of ritual pageantry of Greyhound racing. There are standards and procedures that are followed to really make the entire race a true spectacle. The general mechanics of the race haven't changed too much. There's a little better technology when it comes to photo finishes and things like that, but at its heart, this is the same racing they've been doing for over 100 years. The tracks have gotten a little bit nicer. There are a few more standards to follow as far as how much the dogs weigh and how old they can be to actually compete in the event. But when it comes down to it, it's still 8 dogs chasing down a fake rabbit around a track, just to see who can do it the fastest. And though you can't see these races as easily as a horse race, there are still plenty of tracks throughout America where this awesome sport takes place. If you happen to find yourself in West Virginia and need something to do besides searching for Mothman, there are a couple of different tracks you can go spend a few hours at watching the dogs run around. Or, if you're more towards the central part of the country, there's also a great track over in Arkansas that you can check out. Lots of fun to be had, plenty of dog races to see. There was also this great model of what a modern-day Greyhound racing track looks like. As you can see, it's very similar to horse races or really any kind of big sporting event that you're going to attend. The lawn is well manicured, the track is well taken care of, and there's plenty of seats. But for those who are really invested, they don't want to be up there in the seats just looking down. They want to be right next to the track. And of course, right there next to the track is where you get the best view as the dogs all zip by. And now we enter the actual Hall of Fame, where the Greyhounds and individuals who have made significant contributions to the sport are honored. Now I'm here at Indy Ann. This was actually the first female Greyhound to be inducted into this Hall of Fame, and I wanted to point something out that you're going to notice. This isn't something you'll find at other Hall of Fames, which is the pedigree. This proves their lineage and that they are 100% true Greyhound. You see it going all the way back here, and then it gets smaller and smaller as it comes up to the 2 parents of Indy Ann. Though the Greyhound Hall of Fame didn't open until 1973, there are plenty of dogs that have been inducted way earlier than that. It's really fun checking out the pedigrees and seeing the entire family tree of all these dogs. Not only that, but the different names that people give the dogs are sometimes pretty funny. I think most people will agree in saying that dogs never live long enough. But, thanks to places like this, we are sure to always remember them, and a piece will continue on forever. And, as I mentioned earlier, it's not only dogs that find a place here. There's also plenty of humans who have been inducted that were great trainers, perhaps great promoters, people that really helped out the sport of greyhound racing. There's even display cases to highlight certain individuals and show off the many trophies and accolades that they collected throughout their careers. As far as trophies in professional sports go, I think these are some of the best ones you can ever win. I mean, they've all got awesome dogs on them. What could be better than that? Some people may claim that greyhound racing isn't really that big a deal. But when you're here, you can tell that a lot of love and care was put into every single display.
To learn a little bit more about these dogs, we have this here, which is the Pioneers of Greyhound Racing Memory Book. Like ones that we've seen at other Hall of Fames. You just touch this screen here, and then you're going to get a list of different pioneers of the sport. You can pick whichever one you want and learn more about them, such as Craig, or Dr. Maury Craig here, and this is his entire profile, history, and what accomplishment he's honored for. Though greyhound racing certainly has very strong American roots, it's still celebrated and practiced all across the world. Here we have 3 international dogs that are honored. We have one from Ireland, England, and Australia.
In my opinion, every dog out there deserves to be in a Hall of Fame of some sorts. But it's great that these dogs and these people who dedicated their lives to these dogs have found a place that they can be honored and cherished. Walking through here, you're just hit with how much of a special bond this sport truly depends on.
And here we have Husker Magic. She is an adorable dog that was just inducted in 2022. So that proves greyhound racing is alive and well. You can read all about her, her pedigree, and her plaque. To further prove that they are looking at adding more people, we have these here reserved for future members, and personally, I can't wait to see which pups get in here next. Now, like lots of champion animals, greyhounds are raised to become the athletes that they are. A lot of them begin their lives on actual greyhound farms. This is where greyhounds that have excelled in the past will go to spend the rest of their days having more pups to continue the legacy. When it comes to raising and taking care of them, it's actually pretty similar to how you take care of any dogs you welcome into your home. They get a little more training, and there's certainly a level of discipline there that maybe a lot of regular dogs don't get. But at the end of the day, it's that same human-dog connection that thousands and thousands of people experience every day. I don't know about you, but I think I'm ready to actually meet some real greyhounds. Let's see if we can find any. So, there are a couple of friendly, furry faces you can meet here at the Hall of Fame. This is our first one. This is Ginger, and she is very sweet, very nice dog. Ginger, you want to say hi to everybody? But there is one more person I'd like to introduce you to. And this is Max. He is one of the retired greyhound racers who now calls the Hall of Fame his home. And he is definitely a sweetheart. Well, adventurers, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for tagging along. My name is David, and this has been Abnormal Voyages. We'll see you next time.